Daystar is an abomination unto itself, covering up SA. Every type of sin and debauchery that a place can have, they have. And from the content that I see from Pastor Mitchell, he is a holiness guy. He is passionate about the holiness of God, and he wants people to live right, to give their life to the Lord, to stop being in sin, to stop living double lives.
If we don't come back to them with a plan, in 30 days, we will not have a place to meet. And we have contacted every venue in the city of Atlanta, every arena that can seat 6,000 people, every college, every university.
Put our number there because we're there for you 24/7. Well, God revived him on a trip to Israel just so he could revive others worldwide in the spirit of holiness. When's the last time you heard that word in church?
Yeah.
Okay? And while the COVID pandemic took his church under God's resurrecting powers, rebuilding it, please welcome the pastor of Atlanta's rapidly growing 2819 church, Phillip Anthony Mitchell. Come on in, Phillip.
The church website on the video that I did. If anybody wants to donate, you can go donate to his ministry. And so while I was doing the live, a bunch of people, were commenting and sending me messages on Instagram. Hey, do you know that he's going to be on Daystar? And I'm like, well, where are you guys hearing this from? And they said he posted it on his Instagram page. So I went to his Instagram page, to check for myself, to verify. And there I saw it. He posted, I'm going to be in Dallas, Texas with
2819, Daystar, and Marcus Rogers. Oh my. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Level Up with Larry and Leo, where we turn trials and opportunities and dreams into reality. My name is Larry, and I am solo dolo today. Leo is not feeling well. He is under the weather. Please keep him in prayer. Crazy weather going on all throughout the Southeast. I'm in the Atlanta area. We got snow again today, so it's kind of crazy. But we definitely wanted to get this out, and we just decided I'm going to just roll with this one solo. And there is a lot to talk about. Today we need to talk about Phillip Anthony Mitchell, the lead pastor of one of the fastest growing churches in the country, 2819. They made headlines recently, but not for the right reasons. As many of you know, on January 19th, just a couple of days ago, the church was given a 60-day notice to vacate their facility. That's tough. I get it. Having to relocate a congregation that large is a monumental challenge. But what I don't get is how Phillip Anthony Mitchell has chosen to handle the situation. So we looked at a brief clip of his situation and sort of him talking about the city officials. And that's really where I want to start with this, because there's just a whole lot to deal with when it comes to this situation. But let's start with his comments about the city officials. He accused them of persecuting the church and even likened their behavior to Karens. Now, I understand the frustration. It's never easy to deal with bureaucracy or unexpected challenges. But here's the thing. As pastors, especially ones with as much influence as Phillip, they need to lead with grace, not hostility. Instead of villainizing the community or its leaders, why not use this as an opportunity to build bridges? When pastors paint their city as the enemy, it hurts their witness and damages the relationships that might otherwise help them in these times. And I want to look at something really quickly on that point. Now, I did a little bit of research looking at the area in which they're located. And I want to pull that up just to kind of give an idea for people who may not know this area. So this is the street address of where 2819 currently is located. Now, if you look back here, you'll see that this is the street where they're located, etc. This is like probably an image of cars parking. Maybe this is during the school time where I think they meet at a school. This is where they currently have their church services. While this may be a large facility, we have to look at the surrounding area. So let's look at, I think this is called Perry Street, Perry Boulevard. We notice a few churches here, and he talked about how they're trying to shut down the church. This is like Georgia. And so we see this is a residential area. And this is a place where there are a lot of homes. As you kind of further code down this area, you're going to see a lot of like homes. It's just a normal neighborhood, just like anywhere else in the city of Atlanta. This is where they're currently located. So they are in a residential area in a very crowded metropolitan area. This type of neighborhood is not it's not meant to hold that many people. Just imagine you're living in a neighborhood and there is a packed out concert that's trying to have a concert every single weekend. That's kind of the equivalent of what is going on with 2819. They are packing out. There's even TikToks that you'll see where kids are, it's mostly younger people who are going there, and they are basically talking about how far they had to walk, how many miles they had to walk to get to the church. So when you're in a residential area, you are basically creating a lot of havoc, a lot of discomfort for the people. While there are going to probably be some people who are a bit more difficult to deal with than others, you have to understand you're entering into their neighborhood. You are going there, creating difficulty, creating things for them that they have to deal with, that they have to navigate through. And nobody really wants to deal with that type of thing if they're living in a normal neighborhood and all of a sudden they have to deal with a bunch of traffic. So of course people are going to have issues with that. But here are a few questions I have. You have all of these young people come into your church. How many times have you actually brought those young people back, maybe on a Saturday, to help out the community in some type of way? How many ways have you taken the opportunity to actually bless that community, to actually do something for that community that will bring a benefit to them? Instead of demonizing them, I hate when that happens. When pastors demonize people in their community, I just feel like you're totally missing the mark. You're there to bless that community. One thing that me and Leo talk about a lot, and when talking about certain churches, because we talk about church all the time, it's kind of our weird relationship. But one thing that we ask is, if your church left, would anybody care? Would anybody be sad about it? In 2819's case, people might actually be glad about it, because it's not necessarily that they're mad about the revival that's taking place, but rather that's the only thing you brought to that community. From my perspective, I don't know 100%. Obviously, I'm speaking off of speculation, but I wonder if there was more of an effort to be a blessing to that community outside of just the service. I wonder if those conversations at those city meetings would have been different. But I digress. That just kind of rubs me the wrong way. The second thing that he mentions in this address was that there was an issue of his supposed lack of options for new buildings. Phillip mentioned that he only had a few options, but as someone who lives in the metro Atlanta area, I know that that's not totally true. See, he is in the city of Atlanta, which obviously inside of the city, there are going to be few options. But that's not the only place where there are that you can have buildings to be considered an Atlanta church. In fact, if there's anybody in Atlanta who can attest to this, people in Atlanta know that we drive to places when we want to go there. You have to commute because it's very spread out. There are so many different neighborhoods. If you want to talk about up north, there's Duluth. There is, just off the top of my head, there is just a ton of different options that you can look at, from Gwinnett County to Cobb County to, if you want to go to Lilburn. I'm just naming things off the top of my head. If you want to go to Decatur, if you want to go to Stone Mountain, just there are a ton of options that you could choose from that are that will give you a lot more space, and that will also be a lot less expensive, because when you're inside of the city, you're dealing with two obstacles. Number one, you're dealing with the issue of space. Number two, you're dealing with the issue of parking. And those are two issues that are very difficult to overcome. The churches that I see that actually work inside of the city are usually like in a place like Buckhead, and many times they're in an actual plaza or an actual place that like a retail space. Those are usually the ones that are able to work inside of the city. But if you're not looking for something like that, you can go. I even looked. I looked at a few other options where I saw there was some retail space available in Jonesboro. But of course, who wants to come to Jonesboro? But that's still within the metropolitan area. And if you know Atlanta, people will drive. I remember we were going to a church up in Duluth, and we're all the way down in Henry County. And the pastor said, a lot of times we were going there, a church alive is worth the drive. A church alive is worth the drive. So, people will drive in Atlanta. If you have, and he obviously has built a huge, momentous church, and I believe people will drive there. So he kind of limited himself, but I did peek what he mentioned where he was looking at the building, and I actually wanted to show you guys during this video. So let me actually pull this up so you guys can see the building that they're actually looking at. That's actually it cost $7 million, and it's another $15 million in renovation. This is what it looks like he is trying to get to. For everybody who is donating, I know he's been getting a lot of donations. This is what he's looking to get into: the former Metro Family Fun Center. This is on 1959 Metropolitan Parkway, selling for $7 million. You could see where it is. I kind of know this area a little bit. This is kind of the hood. No cap at all. Like, this is kind of in the south end. So, but it is right off of 75. It is in a pretty central location. So you're not going to be dealing with too much in terms of it will make things easier for people. I'm sure they'll have a lot more parking space and things of that sort. So it probably could work, but it's going to be a lot of work. $15 million, 22 total million in total. That is a tall task for a church that's mostly young people. Mostly young people who are going there, and I know that those are not usually the big donors inside of a church. So definitely a tall task that he's going to have to deal with to kind of get this out the mud. But I do know he had another option he was talking about that was like $500,000. They would be there for 2 years. Maybe during that time he can come up with the rest of the money, and they can fix this place up before they have to get out of that. So maybe that's a good plan. Go there and then come back there. But overall, yeah, there are other options. I did go on LoopNet, and there are other options available, other retail space throughout the metro area that they can look at. But he wants to stay in the city, which I'm not totally mad about. But I just understand the area that we're in, and there are other options that he can look at. So that's all I really have to say about that. The last thing that I kind of think about is, it's a pretty massive church, and it's one of the fastest growing churches in the country. And he was at a location that they probably didn't have to spend that much money. I know they grew fast. I know it was young people, but there were still a lot of people that were there. With that kind of growth, you would expect a well-managed financial foundation, right? But moments like this make me wonder, like, what does this church's financial situation really look like? Is the budget being used wisely to ensure sustainability? Because if a church that large can't handle relocating without a major disruption, there's a bigger question of stewardship that needs to be addressed. But I don't know. I don't know. But it kind of begs the question. But if you've been on our channel at all, this is where the real red flag pulls up for us, because we have been dealing with the Daystar saga for months now. And I remember seeing this video with Pastor Mitchell, and I actually talked to Leo, and even though this wasn't a Daystar, the video was not a Daystar video, I was like, maybe we should react to it, because we both come from the church space. We can have a good conversation about it. And that's all we thought about it. There were some different things that happened with our schedules. We weren't able to do the recording video. And then the next day, I get notified that Pastor Mitchell goes on to Daystar's program with Joni and Doug. And I'm like, what? What? He ends up on their program on MLK Day, which is sus in and of itself. But he ends up getting interviewed and preaching on the Daystar network. Daystar is an abomination unto itself, covering up SA. Every type of sin and debauchery that a place can have, they have. And from the content that I see from Pastor Mitchell, he is a holiness guy. He is passionate about the holiness of God, and he wants people to live right, to give their life to the Lord, to stop being in sin, to stop living double lives. Brother, I don't think you realize that you stepped into a cesspool of snakes and you got caught up. Many people believe that he decided to go onto this program to use it as an opportunity to tell more people about the situation his church is in, to get more money. Again, leads me back to the question about the financial situation. But for you to compromise yourself by going on that program with those people, and I find it hard to believe that you were just completely oblivious to the allegations surrounding that program. And for someone who has attempted to build his ministry reputation as being a man of God, of integrity, of someone who is about representing Christ, being a voice in the wilderness, bruh, that's a strong stain that just came upon your garment. I am sorry. Someone, whoever is in your camp, whoever you are getting your marching orders from, whoever is giving you advice, you need to find somebody else. Because to go on to Daystar's program, maybe unintentionally, it is as if you are co-signing the absolute trash that program has been producing. That is what's on your reputation right now. You ended up, because you were swimming with snakes, you now have to deal with the consequences of doing that. And don't come in my comments talking about, oh, Jesus hang out with sinners. No, Jesus never hung out with sinners for the bag. Jesus never, ever. That was part of the reason me and Leo kind of went back and forth over the TD Jakes thing, because he's like, man, come on, he was trying to reach P Diddy and blah blah blah. Man, TD Jakes was in that relationship. There was financial implications for that relationship. It was not completely altruistic, but I digress. This raises so many red flags for me when it comes to this brother. I know he is so popular online. There are going to be people coming after me in the comments, coming after their amazing pastor that has become kind of like an idol to many of you. And now you're realizing this is just a brother. This is just a brother trying to make $1. I know the theatrics. I know the emotional appeal. I know he's zealous for the Lord. But at the end of the day, brother's going to do what brother's going to do. And you have souped very low by unintentionally co-signing an absolute train wreck of a place that needs to be shut down completely, in every single ministry that is still with them. Would be best to leave. We have covered them extensively. If you want more information, go to some of our other videos. We've got plenty of them. But this was very disappointing. Very disappointing. Looking at him from afar, I've never been to his church. I've seen his clips online. Yeah, awesome. Great. But this, having the lack of discernment, not to realize I probably should not mess with these people, but just seeing an opportunity, it just screams so many different things. Like when it comes to money has a way of revealing so many things. When we're desperate, sometimes we do some things that we would not normally do, but it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I have no judgment. I'm not upset with him. I don't really know him. He's not really my cup of tea, to be honest. But it was just concerning that of all the places he could have gone to explain the situation or ask for support, he chooses a network that's already in hot water. It's just not a good look. And then, for the grand finale of this story, we get Mr. Marcus Rogers. Oh, Marcus, takes his head out. Didn't I say Marcus needs to stop talking? Just stop talking. Please, just stop talking. But of course, just brown nosing, seeing, ooh, Phillip Mitchell. See, I co-signed him before anybody. I told him what he was gonna deal with. I knew that was a good brother. I knew this. I knew that. Like, just kind of getting caught up in the mess, and then he sees, ooh, Phillip went on Daystar. I interviewed Joni and made a complete fool of myself. Ooh, now there's another person. I'm not the only one. You ever see somebody? It's like you're a train wreck, but you're always looking for somebody who's worse than you that you can see. See, I'm not so bad. You see, he did it too. My gosh, bro. So he goes on his platform. He basically tells everybody, Phillip went on Daystar, and I just think he's just an amazing brother. He's just a God-fearing man. I'm so glad about him. I'm grateful for him. Blah 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 blah. It's just more stupidity. It's the more you see him talk, it's just like, oh my gosh, bro, can you ever stop? But no, he's the king of stupid Christian YouTube. He just always has to put his foot in his mouth. Always has to talk. We've done videos on him talking about his indiscretion, which we don't judge. A lot of people coming at us, hey, judge not lest you be judged. I have no judgment for Marcus Rogers. I actually think I'm hoping I hope nothing but the best for the brother. Honestly. No judgment, no hatred at all. All I'm saying is, don't throw a rock from a glass house. Don't build your life on call out culture and exposure culture if you don't want everything exposed from you. And don't come off as you're this altruistic, this totally authentic. Come on, bro. You have your angle. You have your reason for doing what you do. And that's the only thing. If you weren't on that, then I have no reason to jump on your case on it. But it's just so interesting that he has to jump in and basically find ways to justify his stupidity, because that's all that he did. So in conclusion, I just had to get this out there. In conclusion, we have brother Phillip Mitchell, his church actually was a relaunch. I didn't realize that till after his interview with Daystar. Got to see he started a church a few years ago, I think 8 years ago or so, in Atlanta called Victory Church. It kind of took a left turn during COVID, and he relaunched a couple of years ago, and it blew up. And he became the biggest, most exciting pastor really in the country. It was just everywhere you heard talking about him. His clips are being shared all online. And then this happens. He begins to demonize his community, which in my opinion is one of the worst things you can do as a pastor. A pastor, a local church, is there to bless their community. Their community is supposed to be better because they are there. But you chose to demonize them, call them Karens, and all the like. Then, out of desperation, you went to Daystar and stepped into a pool, into a muddy pool with pigs. And when you get into a pool with pigs, you're going to be messy. And now you just tarnished the reputation that you had built up. Now you are being seen with these people. And again, don't come at me with Jesus sat with sinners. I don't want to hear it. Because Jesus did not hang with sinners for the bag. And then good old Marcus Rogers jumps in and says, hey, Phillip, glad to be swimming with you now, buddy. Glad I'm not in here by myself. I'm not the only one that stepped my foot in this. Now you're in here with me too. And now it's just a whole flat mess. But I want to know what y'all think. I covered quite a bit. But what do y'all think? Talk about it in the comments. Again, if you want to be a vibe, subscribe. We're close to hitting 1,000 subs. We got plans on going live in a few weeks. And we're just really excited. Thank you for all the support. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.